Talk with your host, Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, all right here. Oh, Simply Stray Talk.
Who is it?
It's me.
Who is me? I don't know anybody named me.
Woman, you know my voice.
Oh, it's Mr. Little Boy who abandons women in the street.
Hey, come on. First off, it was a festival, and the street was her way home.
Boy, come in here and sit your silly butt down.
Whatever. You got it smelling so good in here. I'm so ready to sample these dishes.
Well, I'm glad you can make it. I really need some honest feedback. You can put your stuff in the sitting room.
Ooh, a sitting room. Us plain folks call it a living room.
For a second, I thought you might act sweet today.
I am not about to argue with you because I know you now. You will deny me my right to that food.
See, you're learning. Please tell me you watched the therapy relationship show last night.
Let me tell you, I was glued to my TV last night.
Do you remember the second couple who has been in a sexless relationship for 5 years? I mean, come on. You know somebody getting it somewhere else.
I understand taking your time, but 5 years in a relationship without sex? Trust me, that man is not going without.
But there are circumstances that may prevent a couple from being intimate sometimes. You know that's just life.
Okay, I get it. Well, in that case, it could be that there are some old, unresolved issues, or they have become so distracted with their job and expensive. You know how life can be. It could even be a confidence thing regarding low self-esteem or, about one of their bodies.
Wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting that, but I agree. A sexless relationship does not mean someone is cheating. The everyday struggles of life may affect a person's sex drive, like I said.
Exactly. And why are you acting like you're so surprised that I got some good sense?
That's a good point, Reggie. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to wrap my head around your direct but related response to this conversation. I feel like I should apologize to you.
Well, I think that would be nice. And actually, that would be a first.
Reggie, allow me to
So which one are you starving your man for sex? We friends. We don't have to play this little hypothetical game because you and Angelique have both been grouchy lately. So you both may be frustrated about not getting none. I know some stores if y'all need some help.
Damn! Boy, I knew the stupidity was lingering somewhere beneath the surface.
Whoa. I'm trying to help the two of you out. Don't hate. Put some food on the plate.
Really? Didn't you just ask Angelique for Sophia's number 2 weeks ago? So Mr. I can't get a woman to save my life is trying to use his friends to get phone numbers because he can't pull a woman on his own?
Oh, see, Angelique giving you too much information.
I have another one. How about this? Last month, didn't Julia tell you that you were not man enough to be her real man, but you could be a friend with benefits?
Come on now. You know she was wrong.
How about this? After we eat, you can go to that store you were talking about and pick out somebody special. Don't you want a doll of a woman in your life?
Okay. You got jokes. But one of these days, I'm going to walk in here and you going to be like, whoa. Because I'm going to be like, this my boo, Jasmine. And she going to be bad.
Well, I just hope I don't accidentally leave a needle laying around. OMG, I am so funny.
All right, so how much longer you going to crack jokes on me? I came here to eat some good food.
Wait, I got another one. Is she going to cook with me because you know heat melts plastic? Woo! My eyes so watery from laughing.
Okay, you got jokes. One day, you're going to be like, Reggie got a beautiful woman.
Then I'm going to ask, did he meet her at Adam and Eve? Look at me. I'm so funny. Come here. Let me give you a hug.
No, don't try to butter me up now.
Boy, you better take this hug. You know, a friend hug is the closest thing you will ever get. OMG, I should be on a comedy tour. Welcome to another episode of the Simply Straight Talk Show with your host, Reggie Maddox. And today, we got some real talk on this thing called life just for you. Y'all know what we about to do. Let's start the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Simply Straight Talk Show. This is your host, Reggie Maddox, and today we're going to talk about what makes a relationship sexless. Now, I don't want this to come off like it's going to be a perverted topic. It is going to be a suggestive dialogue, but the purpose of this topic is to help people to understand why they might be losing the sex in their relationship. You know, what is going on with you? What is going on with your mate? And we want to look at some of the challenges that people face that brings them into the situation to where they're not being intimate with each other. They're not having sex with each other. So we want to try to understand that and what is going on. And hopefully some of the things we talk about will help you to reach a point to where you can kind of look at your relationship and realize that you don't have to throw it away. Your relationship is not over. It just simply may be a conversation needs to take place, or it could just simply be the fact that you're just out of sync with each other. So we want to talk about it and we want to dive into this so that this is a self-help show. It is a self-help topic because, in other words, in any way we're going to fix our relationships, we have to start with ourselves. Now, the truth about sex when it comes to relationships is that while there are some super energetic couples now who have sex 5 or 10 times every week, many people in long-term relationships actually have periods where they may not have sex as frequently or as much as, their mate would like. Because sex in a relationship, in a marriage, it fluctuates. And there are dry spells, but that does not necessarily, you can't consider that as proof that the relationship is over or cannot be saved because it's just too damaged because you're not having sex. And though the frequency of sex might dip, the quality of sex can and it should increase. It's when couples neglect each other sexually and any form of intimacy altogether. This is when you start to have bigger issues in the long term and the relationship starts to develop more problem. Frustration, bitterness towards each other. You begin to snap at each other. The slightest thing sets one person off. And it's not that the love isn't there. There's just a frustration there because something is missing and they're not getting that fulfillment. So we want to talk about that also. Now, when it comes to relationships, relationship have enough challenges as it is to have to worry about if your partner wants to have sex with you or is interested in having sex with you. Now, what determines if a relationship is sexless? Now, I'm asking this question because we have to understand that not having enough sex is not the same as not having any sex. The answer to this question really depends on the couple, as each couple will have their own idea of what a healthy, active sex life is. You got to remember, everybody is different. People's sex drive is different. What stimulates a person is going to be different. Now, for the sake of moving forward, let's assume a couple is not being intimate or physically active with each other. On the other hand, in some situations, there could be some sex, but it's emotionless sex. And it's cold intimacy between the couples. So that can make a person feel like, my relationship is sexless. Although they are, in the act of it, it's just dry. It's just cold. It's like you're just going through the motions. You just want your partner to release so it can be done. And it's unfortunate, but some relationships, they exist in that way. And that's not a good way to exist in a relationship. So what is really going on in your relationship and your bedroom? Because honestly, you have to admit that one will always affect the other. It would always. If you're having problems in your relationship, problems communicating, problems working things out, is going to affect how you treat each other in the bedroom. Now, let's get into what are some reasons a relationship may become sexless or without intimacy. Okay? Now, first, always sex and no lovemaking. I personally think that this is a big factor in a lot of relationships. Listen, plain all-out sex can be fun, especially when it's spontaneous. But some people may begin to feel like a pleasure toy rather than a treasured part of somebody's life. Sex is often based on urges, whereas lovemaking is more about building up the moment with flirtation, with sensual foreplay, to create that desire in the other person, to feel wanted and appreciated, long after the intimate process is over. It's important for men and women to understand the needs of their mate. So everybody don't want to be just banged and then, roll over and go to sleep or go grab something to eat. Some people, that's good on occasions, but sometimes you want to feel like you're being treasured. You want to feel like that person wants to be with you and wants you to be pleased emotionally and mentally. Next, let's talk about business outside and in the home. Because too often relationships are ended simply because the couple has become mentally drained. They go to work 5 days a week, dealing with the job, and they leave work to come to a house where they still feel like they're on another job. Now, did you notice I said house and not home? Because there's a difference when a person feels like they're going home after the end of a day versus someone just going to a house. There is a big difference. It's so easy to get caught up in the daily rat race that when you get home, you simply just have reached a point where you don't want to answer any questions or make any decisions, and some people will get into an argument over something as simple as, like, what would you like for dinner? Because I remember when I worked as a campus safety director, my entire day was problem solving. It was problem solving. If it wasn't administrative issues, it was student issues, it was staff issues. So it just got to the point that when I left work, I didn't want to problem solve nothing. But you have to learn to balance that because you have to work at your home life as well. So, and, with that being said, relationships can turn into a business model so fast. When couples are trying to create a new life, they're trying to buy a house, they're trying to raise kids, manage, all of their expenses, and they're trying to, meet their goals. And too often people forget how to balance their life and their work life. Relationships will have some business aspects to address, but it should not be branded in that manner. Your relationship should not be branded as a business. This also includes careers. People who are seriously looking to advance their professional career may dedicate a large amount of time to their work. Occasionally, they're going to lose sight of their relationship because they're so focused on progressing and moving forward. But if you focus on that too much, the home life is gonna fall apart. Now, next is unresolved problems and resentment. Whenever two people become connected physically and emotionally, there are bound to be some obstacles on the road. This causes some people to build up resentment for the other person, especially if the problems have not been resolved. How often now, and I know a lot of us have done this, I have even done this. How often have you just caved into a dispute between you and someone else simply because you did not, oh my God, simply because you did not feel like dealing with it, or you felt it was pointless trying to get them to understand what you were trying to say. Now, although this may seem like a sensible solution at the time because it seems to bring peace and everything seems to be okay for a little while, but basically you're sitting in a chair where one of the legs is broken and you just prop the leg back under the chair hoping that it will work out. And it might do that until some weight is put on it. So just prepare for the fall when it happens. The more problems you ignore and the more inner resentment or dissatisfaction you will develop about your partner and the relationship. You can't ignore the problems. You can't just let things hang out the window. You have to address them. And unresolved problems and resentment can cause a person not to be physically or intimate with you because they're still in their mind. That's what they see. Next, B&B, boredom in the bedroom. Now, this occurs when a couple has made their sex life routine in every aspect. Now, some people do this. They feel like they're so busy in life that they got to plan everything out, including their intimacy. Now, there is nothing exciting about a relationship where the intimacy is planned on a certain day. Okay? On Thursday, we will go to this room. We'll go to the bedroom. I'll lay down. You'll get on top, or I'll get behind. And I'll do that thing you like. You do that thing I like, and we're done. We're done. It's the same show, same time every week. Absolutely no changes at all. Consider this. Sex is like the 4 seasons, okay? It's like the 4 seasons. You want winter to make you cuddle and bring you closer. You want summer for hot action and adventure. The fall is supposed to bring change, but change that will help make your love to bloom even more. So when the spring comes, it's all like new again. But see, boredom may cause your mate to be, infatuated with someone else. I'm just saying. Somebody else can say something or do something. It could be the slightest gesture or comment, but it's going to feel new and something different to your partner that they're going to be like, whoa, it's kind of nice. That's why you see some people, it's like when they walk out, like if they're hugged differently, if you and your spouse or mate have got to the point to where your hugs are just more friendly, you know what I'm saying? You don't hug like you're in a relationship. You hug like it's cool, but when you get somebody that maybe lean on your arm, maybe grabs your hand, or maybe, tickles you or does something, that can make a person sort of feel infatuated with somebody else, not necessarily the person, but the fact that stimulation they're getting from something they're not getting at home. Next up is coupled up too fast. You see, in today's world of I want it faster, too many people are getting into relationships without taking any time to dissect their emotions and needs to determine if the person of interest is going to be a long-term relationship material or just somebody cool to hang out with. It's so easy to get involved with someone and later find out that what you thought you felt in the beginning was not love. It was just like a high school crush. The other person may lack maturity, or they may be unable to stimulate you emotionally or mentally, which causes you to lose interest in any form of sexual activity. The idea of even giving them a kiss good morning, a kiss goodbye, even puckering your lips makes your stomach turn and your throat close up. It happens because people want to be with somebody and they get caught up in the emotions and they don't take time to analyze the situation like outside of the physical. What else is it about this person that attracts me? What else stimulates me? You know what I'm saying? And that can cause a person to feel like after they get to know them, like, I don't want to and I'm not interested. Because this is gone. Because there was nothing else there outside of that quick physical attraction, but you jumped into it so fast, you didn't realize that there was nothing beneath the surface of this person that would really interest you or hold you, that would make you feel attracted to them every single day. So, when it comes to people being in relationships and the relationships becoming sexless, these are things that can normally happen over time. These are things that happen between the two people. And it's sad when this happens because some people really tie themselves to that person. Now, some people will stick with it and try to work it out, and some people will start to actually wander off. Some people just feel like if the sex is not where it should be, then I may stay with you for convenience because outside of the sex, the rest of our life is good, but I need somebody that can satisfy me physically. So that might make a person wander into somebody else. She may go find another man that's going to give her that attention. He may go find another woman. Some people have, confidence issues about their body. For men, it could be erectile dysfunction. For women, if they had a hysterectomy, they could be worried about how it feels, how their body has changed. Are they actually getting moist? A lot of things can affect it. But we have to evaluate the circumstances for what they are and not just assume that the relationship has to end. So when we come back, we're going to break this conversation down even more. And we're going to talk about how you can find out what's going on with yours and how you can fix it.
We'll be back with your host, Reggie, on Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, we all know that Atlanta, Georgia is a big city, and sometimes you might need just a little bit of help. But you know what? That's why we have Legs Concierge Services. Are you looking for someone to help you with errands, event planning, dog walking, organizing, shopping, or maybe you're in need of a personal assistant? Then you need to contact Legs Concierge Services, operating in Atlanta, Georgia. For more information on these and additional services, contact rarmstrong105@gmail.com. That's rarmstrong105@gmail.com. Remember, time is precious, so let Legs Concierge Services help you enjoy it so much better.
We hope you're enjoying the show. As our listeners, this show is made possible because of your support. Make sure you click the subscribe button and leave a comment. Thank you for being a part of the show, and now back to your host, Reggie Maddox.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the second part of the show. Today's topic is what makes relationships sexless. Now, let's just get into this, okay? Let's just start breaking this conversation down to determine how can we all work to improve a relationship that is sexless, okay? Now, when it comes to unresolved problems and resentment, it's important to have that conversation, the conversation that we always try to avoid. But when we have the conversation, it needs to be resolution based. Giving in just to end the argument and hoping it does not come up again is not a good option. Couples need to work on selecting the appropriate time and location to address problems. If you have the feeling that things have changed in your relationship, then you should reflect on when you noticed the change. Was there distrust? Was it a change in work or friends? Did an argument occur at some point? Or was it something with your family? What was going on during the time you felt a change in the other person? Sometimes you have to turn back the hands of time to resolve an issue in the present that was developed in the past. And I know people say, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. But if your situation is not getting better because you're still got issues from the past, you're going to have to turn the hands back. The objective is finding closure for both individuals to move past the problem or problems. And you know what? Don't be ashamed to say we need a mediator. A mediator may be helpful if you cannot have the discussion without getting into a yelling match or someone shutting down. People fail to realize how unresolved problems and issues in relationships can make a person see another person as just being unattractive. They just lose all attractiveness to them because when they see that person, they open their mouth, they speak, or maybe something will be said and it'll trigger something that takes them back to that unresolved issue or that unresolved problem. Okay, next, I need y'all to understand this. Sex and lovemaking are two different things. Two different things. Okay? They're two different things. And you have to utilize both in a relationship because no one wants to feel like they're just a pumping station or a leftover hot dog. Stimulation is a key thing in the role when it comes in the role of lovemaking. Don't be lazy with romance. Romance is one of the simplest things you can do to show a person that, you have not only been thinking about them, but you have also taken the time to create an environment that pleases them by arousing their senses. Like fellas, if you take a woman, you create an environment to where she likes the smell of something. Maybe her favorite food, her favorite food, I'm combining words, her favorite food, her favorite fruit, the cologne that you wear that she loves. You know what I'm saying? A candle scent that she loves, a color she loves, something that pulls her into that moment to where it's just you and her. And when you do that, everything about that scent, that smell, those colors, everything you set up, when she sees it, it's going to be a reflection of you. And ladies, you can do the same thing. Every guy don't want to just be hopped on. So, you have to understand that, when you create that environment that pleases a person like that, and don't get me wrong, we all love spontaneous sex. We all love that sometimes. But there are times when every person wants to be caressed, touched sensually, and kissed in an arousing way with passion. Because in doing these things, you'll find that your partner is more appreciative of you, and they're going to want to do more to please you. But you got to put in the work and want to do it happily. Now, as we work to achieve our goals in life, we begin to sacrifice other things in life. The husband and wife both want to provide and ensure the family is being provided for and taken care of. Not to mention managing expenses, and career goals. It's easy to see how a relationship can become a business, but you must create balance. One thing I tell people is learn to call time out. In sports, when teams feel like they're losing control of a game or the team is not playing in sync, or maybe just to adjust their game strategy, they call a timeout. You should learn to do the same thing. Call a timeout. Take a breath. Look at the person you are with. And you know what? And just find a weekend, a day, even a couple of hours to appreciate and maintain what you're working for. And that's a life with that other person. I mean, think about this. How sad would it be to get that new job you spent all these hours working on, or get this brand new house that you've been dying to move into, just to get it, and then when you finally do get it, you in that house alone. You got that nice career now, but you're alone with nobody to celebrate with. Because you failed to work on your relationship during the process. You failed to realize the importance of your relationship during the process. What did Billy D. Williams tell Diana Ross in the movie Mahogany? Baby, success is nothing without somebody to share it with. And it's true. I remember real quick when I lost 73 pounds. I lost 73 pounds. I was 250. I was wearing a size 32 pants. I was wearing a large shirt. My arms I was in great shape. But you know what? I had nobody to celebrate with. It was like a depressing victory because there was nobody to say you look good. I'm proud of you. Come on now. Now, boredom. We talked about boredom in the bedroom, okay? And we also talked about how a relationship needs more than just plain old sex. But boredom can happen to anyone, especially if you jump into a relationship without getting to know the person you are with. Remember, we talked about people jumping into relationships too fast? Take time to talk and get to know the person. Mental attraction is important. And I personally believe that mental attraction is more important than physical attraction. Because think about it. People can gain weight and lose weight. People's bodies change on the outside. The skin, you might have that woman with some beautiful legs. As she get older, the little wrinkles and all that stuff starts to kick in, the little dimples. Mental stimulation is essential to a healthy sexual relationship. Let me say that again and say it right. Mental stimulation is essential to a healthy sexual relationship. I'm amazed at people who have not figured out that a friendly conversation on an intellectual basis is one of the most attractive things about people. So many people become attracted to a person or become interested in a person because they heard them speak with some form of intelligence on a certain topic or maybe multiple topics. You know, people think that sometimes just sounding ignorant is going to make the difference. We also talked about self-confidence. A lot of people have very low self-esteem about their body. You know, especially a guy, if you're overweight, maybe a woman, you're overweight. You know, men dealing with erectile dysfunction. You know, women have issues that go on down there too. You know, women who have hysterectomies or, you know, I don't want to get too graphic about it, but there are things that go on between men and women that may make them feel like they're not attractive. So it's not you. You know, inside, they just feel like, I don't want to take my clothes off because of the way I look. I'm not happy with my body. I don't like the way my body looks. You know, especially if you're a person to where your wife is like in perfect shape, your husband is like in really good fit shape, but you yourself, you know, your body is not there. And, you know, and when you see other women, you see other men, you may start to feel like, oh, you just lose confidence in yourself. And that lack of confidence is going to reflect in the bedroom. And some people have a lack of confidence, you know, especially if their partner is talking about somebody else or they hear their partner refer to other people. And it may not be in a derogatory way. It just may be talking about people from their past or maybe a TV actors or athlete that they kind of mention or look at and like, yeah, it will affect that person's self-esteem. So you may have to work on yourself to get your confidence back up. Hey, we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back with the final thought of today's show right here on the Simply Straight Talk Show.
You're listening to Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, are you looking for some great music, upbeat and with a positive voice? Well, the song I Stand With You is exactly what you need. This timeless song has a pop version sung by Audrey Carmel. And a reggae version sung by General Steele, now known as Revelation.
Now I know some days you may feel blue, Lord. Trust in your greatness to see you through.
These songs are now available on iTunes and other digital platforms for download. Don't miss out. Get your copy today.
Give life your best, and I know.
Are you ready for the straight truth? Reggie, what's the final word for today?
All right, everybody, welcome back to the final thoughts of today's show. Now, today we talked about what makes a relationship sexless. Now, of course, you know, there are a lot of factors that play into this. And I think the number one thing everybody thinks about is the fact that somebody cheated on somebody and they no longer want to be with them. That is always a possibility. But I think you will be surprised at how many relationships end up going sexless simply because people haven't dealt with problems that occurred in a relationship. It could have been financial issues, bad decisions. A lot of people get into a relationship and they forget that they're into a relationship and they become a business because it's more about finances. It's more about continuing their education, and they don't know how to balance the business aspect of a relationship with the personal. You know, the personal is so important that you keep that personal connection. Yes, you need to work on your goals. Yes, you need to work on your dreams. Yes, you need to prepare a future. Yes, you need to work on your career, your kids. Anytime you join two lives together, those things always are a factor. But you don't want to get to the point to where you become so much of a business that you're driven towards obtaining materialistic things, even your career, that you are neglecting the home. So you got to find that balance in between there. You got to understand that when it comes to a relationship going sexless, sometimes it's not the fact that the man or the woman is not interested in you or they're not feeling you. Sometimes emotional stress from the job. Sometimes emotional stress are just about worrying about what's going to happen the next day because something in their life could be unstable and they're just not in the mood. Some people go to jobs to where, they're just not happy with the job. They want to find a new job, but it's taking a while to get a new job. Some people are working under poor management. You got some managers who have poor staff. And that stuff just affects them because they're worried about their job security, which means they're also worried about you. You have to be able to communicate when you're in a relationship what is going on. You have to realize, too, that, we talked about the difference between just having sex with somebody and making love. You want to stimulate the person that you're with, that, yes, you give them those spontaneous moments, but you also give them those romantic, intimate, and sensual moments. It should make you look forward to something. When things get tough, the winter should bring you closer. Spring should be a renewing of your love because in the fall, you should have been planting things. And in the summer, it should be action and adventure. But it's up to you. It's up to you how you handle it. Some people just give up. Some people automatically assume that a person is cheating. Now, I'm not saying that people don't cheat, but what I'm saying is don't make that the first assumption that you come to. Have a conversation. Get to know and understand what is going on in your mate's life, what's going on in their mind. And I mentioned, too, picking the right time to have these conversations, the right location is key. And I know some people feel like everything got to be done right now. And like I said, there's a big difference between a person who's going home to a house versus a person who is going home to a home. When someone says, yeah, I'm going to the house, that's one thing. When somebody says I'm going home and they're smiling about it, that's a whole nother story. But don't take your relationship being sexless as the end of the world. Don't be afraid to get a mediator or a professional counselor to kind of help walk you through things, to kind of help get you back on track. Maybe help figure out what's going on. Pay attention to your mate. Does your mate have low confidence about their body? Encourage them. Do things that you can either walk together or work out together. Eat right together. Do things to kind of motivate your mate so they feel treasured, they feel loved, and they don't feel like they're just a piece of meat or something you can just slap around when you don't have anything else or you're bored. Sexless relationships do happen, but loving relationships are also a great part of this, a great part of being in a relationship. You have to decide, are you willing to put in the time to get to know the person you're with? Are you willing to call a timeout and figure out what changed, what made things reach the point that they are right now? Because they don't have to stay there. But you got to be willing to have a conversation, but make sure it's solution-based conversations. All right, y'all, that's all my time for today. But thank you for joining in. Thank you for tuning in to the show. And I definitely look forward to seeing you guys next week with another episode of the Simply Straight Talk Show.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Straight Talk Show with Reggie Maddox. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our podcast to your friends and colleagues. And please leave us a positive review on iTunes. Be sure to check out our archive section on iTunes, Spotify, Libsyn, and YouTube. Join us next time for another edition of the Simply Straight Talk Show.